get some water.
Welcome to episode 2 after a 6-month hiatus. Since the last episode, we have our guest, our star guest, Michael Dees with
I'm dressed as a blueberry today.
he's coming back from the first episode, Austin Marin. So we're gonna jump right into it with the news of the day, which is a Mueller report. So it kind of confirmed what was said earlier, where they didn't find enough evidence to find Donald Trump guilty, but at the same time they couldn't exonerate him. So just what are your thoughts?
Was that, so you said that confirms what we already knew. Is that what, like...
Confirms what the summary that had come out before. It's basically what the summary had said, where they didn't find enough evidence to either exonerate him or to find him guilty.
Now, like, what percentage of people do you think, like, read that somewhat nuanced summary of the Mueller report and came away with that nuanced conclusion versus how many people do you think were in the no collusion exoneration camp versus the, like, I don't know, we'll wait and see camp? I mean, I don't think people really looked at that letter. I think people have already drawn their conclusions about what happened, and I don't think that anybody is going to dig any deeper into this report to pick up on nuance.
That is true. What do you think about that? Because whenever it first came out, all you saw was either this proves there was no collusion or there's not enough evidence to exonerate him, and whatever side people saw, they ran with it, and they said, "Oh, look, this confirms that he was never guilty of this," or "Look, they don't want to show the full report for a reason because they don't have enough evidence to exonerate him."
So I feel like the whole reaction around the Mueller report is a perfect encapsulation of everything that is wrong with social discourse in our country right now. Like, as soon as the Attorney General put out that 4-page letter, people, instead of going and reading that letter and being like, well, let me draw a conclusion about the future and the fate of our democracy, like, what they were looking for while they were standing in line to get their little McDonald's treat that you got is they're getting on their Twitter machine and they're going through and they're reading all of the different clickbait headlines about it, and nuance doesn't sell. People aren't interested in nuance, and so, like, all of these different media outlets, since they're just reflecting ourselves back onto us, either said no collusion exoneration or they said, well, we'll see, because, like, Barr used this word here and this word here, so we don't know what happened. And so, like, nobody actually had any sort of discussion about what was actually going on and what this really meant. People just went into their tribes, and the clickbait pushed them further into their tribes. And I think the same thing was, like, the full report. Like, I don't think that we're going to have... Now, we might be about to have a nuanced discussion about it. I just don't think there's going to be really that nuanced of a discussion about, like, what does all of this really mean? I think the people that think that there was collusion, that he committed a crime, are going to think that no matter what. And the people that think that this is a nothing burger are going to think that no matter what. I don't know how to fix that. How do we fix that problem? How do we get people to have more of a discussion about substance instead of just finding evidence to support their narrative about what they want the world to be?
Well, for one, this finds him not guilty. This doesn't find him innocent. This finds him...
It doesn't, well, because he was never tried, so it doesn't find him innocent or not guilty. Mueller is saying, like, if I had to roll the dice, I don't know if with a 100% certainty the dice would land on guilty. It's a weird dice, and it either lands on guilty or not guilty. Basically, Mueller's saying, like, it's not 0% evidence of a crime, but I can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not 100% evidence that he committed a crime. We're somewhere between 1% and 99%. That's where we're living in right now, and that's what the Mueller report says. There's something there, but in terms of, like, really unpacking, like, what that something is, I don't think people can look past their ideological predispositions to really dig into a 400-page report and then come to a conclusion about it. People are like, I don't have time for that. All I have time for is to see whatever the headlines are when I scroll through Twitter. I'm going to draw my entire conclusion about the Mueller report based on the Twitter moments that I read while I'm in line to get my Frappa Latte Chino. And that's going to be the conclusion I draw about this. And you know, I mean, like, the truth lies somewhere in the middle, as I think that could be the title of the Mueller report. The truth lies somewhere in the middle, And I don't think that we're gonna have like a nuanced discussion of that middle ground. But does it even matter? Like, does what was found in the Mueller report ultimately matter one way or another? Because he's not going to get impeached. Like, even if it had come out and it said like his campaign had colluded with Russia, the Senate's not. You're not going to get 2/3 of senators in a Republican-controlled Senate to impeach him. And I don't even think that that's like ultimately what people would want to see. I think people should want to see him defeated electorally. So, I mean, maybe he would get indicted after he left office if there was some evidence of collusion. I don't know, but like, we've all been like waiting for this like some sort of democracy Christmas for 2 years, and now we've opened the gift, and I don't know that we really even know what to do with it, or if it even really matters, or if we even really want it anymore.
What do you think happens from now? Do you think people are still going to be talking about it and using it to confirm their own bias, or does it just fade away until election day and like till the election period, and they start bringing it up again whenever he's running for re-election? Or
I mean, I think the real problem is polarization. Like I think that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that I don't think people are looking at and trying to figure out what is the objective reality of this event, and then I'm going to come up with an opinion based on that objective reality. People have their like strong ideological belief, and then they just take whatever has happened in the world and they just funnel it through that belief, and that just becomes another point of evidence to support their belief.
but there's no way to. It's going to be extremely hard to try to stop that, because you have people that are on Twitter like every day, and every action that Trump does, this is it. We finally got him. This is going to impeach him. Or you have the other people that are saying, man, all the media wants to do is find something to criticize Trump and to try to impeach him when he hasn't done anything wrong, and he's a great president, blah, 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 blah. I can't think of a way to end that, especially anytime soon, with the way, everything is on Twitter. Whoever you follow, that's going to be the headline you see. That's going to be what you use in arguments, what you believe in.
Well, I think that's like a bigger, broader question about social media in general that a lot of people have talked about. Like, there's good in social media. Like, we are more informed about what's going on in our world than we ever have been before, because everybody is getting their news from social media and the people that they follow on Twitter and things like that. So we're more informed than we've ever been before. We can communicate with each other easier than we ever have been before. But at the same time, like, because we're getting so much of our news and our information off of Twitter, like, media outlets are for profit, and they want to feed us what we want, and we like some chisme, we like some drama, we like something that's got a little pop to it. And if that's all we're putting in our face hole all day, then it just becomes kind of this like reinforcing thing. And so I think that media has become this very polarizing force. Like, it took an already polarized society and then fed each side like specially tailored through an algorithm information and clickbait headlines, and just kind of drove them further apart. So like I mean I don't
Stop.
No, it's because it's like this
What are you
information is bothering me, and I hate it at the same time.
Sorry, babe.
This
is it, not me.
This is production value right here. I didn't come here voluntarily.
Here we go.
They hit me with some ether and put me in a trunk, and the next thing I knew, they had told me the only way you're gonna get your cats back alive is if you do this podcast.
Yeah, well, you guys can't see it, so we have Frank tied up,
And that's why I'm here right now.
there's this person holding.
Tomas is in my backpack. That's
I'm over here spitting straight
forget
fire
about
about
that. It's just
everything.
this guy's glare-
this glare was getting. It was striking me. Okay, but you know what I wanted to talk to you about is those people.
I don't know what you want to talk to me about.
It's those people that like, it doesn't matter. It's from both sides, whatever ideology they believe in, but they make everything, like, they're so far apart that they make everything into an argument. Like with the Notre Dame fire that happened a few days ago, you have a whole bunch of people. I don't know if you've seen these on Twitter. That
crazy left that says, "Oh wow, it's so good that it burned down because they stole from colonies and painters." Like,
and not just that, like, if they're criticizing these people, are like, whoa, why are you posting your pictures that you went there? I don't care that you went there. You're just trying to brag that you went there before it caught fire in your wrist.
Yeah, so there's a couple of these like trends of what social media has done with us, like built within that, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. So like looking at things with more historical nuance and being like, well, maybe we shouldn't respect this place because of like the history of oppression built into it. I think it's probably a good thing that we're sharing more nuanced perspectives on those sort of things. But then the downside of it is getting those likes and getting those retweets is like internet cocaine, and people love getting on there and being like, yo boy, hit me up with the followers. And so what happens is everybody zigs, and then in order to get likes and retweets, it's like, I want to have a different opinion. I want to come up, like somebody does it and they're like, I want to come up with the opinion that's so contrary to what everybody else is saying right now that people won't be able to help but hit that little heart, because they're going to be like, I never thought of it that way before. So it's like, puppies are adorable, puppies are adorable, puppies are adorable, puppies are adorable. But wait a second, puppies go outside and they poop in the yard, and whereas that might act as a fertilizer in the process of the bowel movement, they're releasing gases, just like farting cows that might be destroying the environment. Puppies are one of the things that we need to tackle in order to fix climate change in this country. And like somebody goes that direction, and like whether you want to look at it or not, people want to look at it and they give it attention, whether it's like, I never thought of it that way kind of attention, or whether it's like, well, I can't even believe that you would possibly say that about puppies, you vile scoundrel. And people like to get that attention, and that's what social media does to us. So it creates this incentive structure to come up with an opinion that's so contrary to what everybody else is saying that you'll get that shock value attention, good or bad. So people go that direction, and then people have to cut like keep coming up with even more shocking things to continue to get that endorphin hit from the likes and the retweets, because we become more desensitized to the shock value of the thing about the puppies ruining the environment.